Hey, this is just your friend Sabrina wishing you peace, love, and happiness.
So, for those of you who do not know, I am divorced. Yes. I was with my ex-wife for 11 years. We were together, girlfriend and girlfriend, for 10 years and married for exactly 1 year to the day. So I just wanted to kind of share my story with you guys. We met when I was about 18 years old or so, and from the moment I laid eyes on her, I was in love. I was infatuated. I was captivated, and I had to find out more about her. I later found out that she felt the same way when she laid eyes on me. So from the moment that we first met each other, we moved in 3 months later. So we first meet each other, we have an instant connection, and then 3 months later, we're living together. So you can say the typical U-Haul lesbian joke. We U-Hauled quick. 3 months after meeting each other, we're now living together. So it happened rapidly. We had basically the fairy tale love. Everybody wanted to wish us love and happiness, and we had the relationship where everybody wanted to be like us. We had relationship goals, if you will. Um, uh, After being together from a young age and then transitioning into adulthood, there was a lot of growth that happened. So for the majority of our relationship, we grew together. We grew together. And then we hit a point where we started to grow apart. And that's what ultimately led to the divorce. So we're together for 10 years. Everything's good. Everything's great. We're in love. We're happy. Fairy tale. Then we get married, which was a beautiful, beautiful day. One of the best days of my life. It was fantastic. Um, then maybe three, maybe 6 months after we get married, I have an episode and I end up in a mental hospital. Now, while I'm in the mental hospital, I write her a note and I basically blame her for my mental illnesses, um, which in hindsight was very, very wrong and very horrible to do. But at that time and in my state of mind, that's what I was feeling, because you have to understand, when I first met her, I was undiagnosed. I didn't have ADHD. I wasn't bipolar. I wasn't suffering from depression when we first met. Then we get together, and then next thing you know, boom, I'm diagnosed with all these mental illnesses. So when I'm in the middle of having an episode from one of these mental illnesses, I'm doing some reflection, and then I blame her for my mental illness, which we all know you can't blame someone else for your chemical imbalance. So, as much as I tried to apologize and recant that statement, ultimately it left a sour taste in her mouth. And unbeknownst to me, she had already started to grow away from me. So here I am, still stagnant. Well, I wasn't stagnant, because after coming out of the mental hospital, I realized that I needed to start working on myself. I had a lot of mental and emotional baggage that was blocking me from being my best self. So I decided to start bettering myself and trying to deal with some of these wounds that I had. So in the process of trying to love myself, I kind of neglected her. So I come home from work one day and the TV's off, and I'm like, hey, babe, you hungry? You want to eat something? She's like, no, but we need to talk. Dun, dun, dun. So she says, I feel like we need to separate. I'm like, what? You know, we've been together for so long. We've been married for going on 6 months now. I'm fresh out of the mental hospital, and you want to separate? So obviously, I'm feeling all these sorts of emotions, from betrayal to hurt to I wouldn't say hatred, because I never hated her, and even to this day, I still don't hate her. I have nothing but love for her. But it was a punch in the gut. It knocked the wind out of me. It was totally unexpected. It wasn't like we were having problems. There was no infidelity, or anything major to, in my opinion, to have brought this on. So I'm totally floored when she says she wants to separate. So with that being said, I move out of our bedroom immediately and into the spare bedroom. And I stay in the spare bedroom for about 2 months. Now, you have to understand, within those 2 months, I'm trying to get her to go to therapy. I'm trying to get her to open up and communicate with me. I'm thinking that we're just separating, temporarily, just so we can work on each other, so we can come back as a dynamic full force. So I'm under the impression for 2 months that we're separated and it's temporary and everything's going to be okay. But in those 2 months, we're still living in the same house together, and I'm seeing her, come home from work super late, or come home from work and shower and get dressed and smelling all good and leave. I have no right to ask where she's going, and even when I do ask, she doesn't feel the need to disclose. So I'm still living in this house while she's moving on. She's living her best life, and I'm sitting here in anguish, feeling defeated, feeling worthless, not feeling any sort of love, and it was torturous. It was rough, because the whole time I was thinking that this was just a roadblock, that this was just something that we could overcome. If I just give her time, if I just give her space, then she'll come back to me. But that wasn't necessarily the case. So after 2 months, our 1-year wedding anniversary rolls around, and she has to work that day. So I get up early and I'm like, hey, happy anniversary. She doesn't say it back. She doesn't wish me a happy anniversary back. So I'm off that particular day. So I go and get a haircut. I go and try and find me a nice outfit. I'm like, yeah, it's my 1-year wedding anniversary. We're separated. We're having some problems. But being the hopeless romantic I am, I'm like, there's a way we can work through this, So I get my haircut, got me a fresh outfit. I'm thinking when she gets off, I'll go take her to where we got married, and we'll walk around the park, and we'll just kind of try and reconnect. So she comes home from work, and I'm like, hey, Chris, you didn't wish me a happy anniversary or anything today. And she goes, well, it just doesn't feel happy. It doesn't feel like a time to celebrate. So after 2 months of sitting in this stalemate, if you will, I finally asked her, like, do you want to be with me? Are you in love with me? Do you want to be together? And she's like, I don't know. I don't know? I don't know? You don't know if you want to be with me? You don't know if you're in love with me? You don't know after 11 years whether or not I'm the love of your life? You don't know? So I reached a point where I'm getting irate. I need to know. You don't know, but I need to know. I need something from you so that I can either stay and fight for this relationship, or I can move on. So finally, after basically pulling teeth, I drag it out of her, and I'm like, do you want to be with me? And she says no. Mind you, we've been together for 10 years. It's our 1-year wedding anniversary. So we've been together for 11 years. And now you don't want to be with me? What do you do with that? What do you do with that? So, once I got the answer that I needed, that she no longer wanted to be with me, it was clear that it was time for me to move on. So I put my feet to the ground, and I found a roommate, and I found somewhere to live, and you know, I moved on from that, or attempted to. I tell you, one of the hardest feelings is being in love with somebody and them not loving you back. It was extremely hard for me as I'm trying to move on. And once she saw that I was trying to move on, she wanted to she didn't want me back, but she still wanted Sabrina. She still wanted what I had to offer. So she wanted to be friends. She wanted to text each other. She wanted to kind of hang out every once in a while. And I'm like, F that, I don't think so. You don't want to be with me. You're not in love with me, but you want to be friends? You want your cake and eat it too. That's not how it works. That don't work for me. I don't think so. So I had to basically tell her straight up, that's effed up. You don't want to be with me. You're not in love with me, but you still want a piece of me? That's wrong on so many levels, and manipulative on so many levels. And one of the reasons she says she didn't want to be with me was because of something that I have no control over, being bipolar. Even though I'm on medication, I have no idea what my mood is going to be when I wake up or throughout the day. I have so many different moods, and there's so many different Sabrinas that you never know which one you're going to get, which, being the person that's dealing with it, it's hard. But loving someone with that type of disorder, it could be even harder because you never know what Sabrina you're going to get. So she said she didn't want to be with me because of the instability in my mood. She wasn't sure which Sabrina she was going to get. And I thought that was extremely harsh because I have no control over that. I have a chemical imbalance. I medicate every day, twice a day, because I have no control over it. So I thought that was kind of harsh. But so once I got the answer from her that she didn't want to be with me, I moved on, or the best that I could. I surrounded myself with good people, and they kind of helped me through that transition. So for those of you that helped me, you know who you are, and I'm forever grateful. But I just wanted to make this video just to talk about divorce and separation, and I just wanted to share my story because I know a couple of people right now who are going through divorces, who are in transitional phases in their life. And if you're in a relationship, I feel like it's important for me to let you know that you guys have to grow together. Life has a way of, putting a gap in between people. Ultimately, you have to be your best self. They have to be their best selves. And then you guys come together and you be a dynamic force, untouchable. But you have to make sure you guys grow together. Communication has to be the utmost importance, because apparently my ex was feeling like she wanted to separate for quite some time, and I was completely unaware of it. I was completely blindsided because the communication wasn't there. The communication wasn't there. So I would say communication, communication, communication. If you love somebody, let them know. If you're in a committed relationship and you're unhappy about something, let them know. People aren't mind readers. They don't know what you're thinking or what you're feeling unless you open your mouth and you express it to them. So I would say communication has got to be the number one force that can make or break a relationship. So now, fast forward, maybe 2-3 years, my ex is now pregnant, is now in a relationship with a man, and I wish her nothing but happiness as well. And as for me, I have an amazing, fantastic, phenomenal girlfriend. So life is good.